right, you know what time it is. It's time for Battle Day with Fit Crew live from the BearMuscle Garage. What do we got in store for you today? Let's go ahead and share this on screen. So for today's battle, we are going to be battling with some bar muscle ups and some squat snatches. In 2-minute rounds, we're going to be doing 6 bar muscle ups and then as many squat snatches as we can do until the 2 minutes are up. In the first round, we're going to start light and then we're going to get heavier and heavier across these rounds. And we may be thinking, that bar muscle up, what even is that? That sounds like a crazy complicated move. The squat snatch is also kind of technical. Don't worry, guys. We're going to warm up really well. And we're going to go through all the options that will allow you to do this workout or your version of it right where you are, using what you have and doing what you can. But let's go ahead and start this general warm up. Here we go. Let's get some arm circles going back, arm circles back. And as you know, my name is Coach Chris. I am a level 3 CrossFit trainer, which means I've logged thousands of hours over many years, helping many people just like you live their best life through health and fitness. Let's move on to arms across the chest. Hug yourself, love yourself. One of the ways I've been privileged to help you guys live your best life is through the On Track program. And when you get on track, you get access to additional workouts. You get access to additional accountability features that help you to really understand your consistency with all your habits and to get the most out of this program. Let's move on to the wrist wave here. And when you get on track basic, you get access to these additional workouts such as Throwdown Tuesday, Flashback Friday, Weekend Warrior, Sunday Fun Day, and Throwdown Tuesday is especially one of my favorites. I love throwing down with you guys at different times over Zoom, getting some people here in the garage as well. It's definitely a highlight of my week, but it makes me equally happy to see you guys throwing down with your teams at other times that are good for you. Let's move on to some high knees into chest, or we could do some high elbows, or both. And when you get on track unlimited, that's when you get access to even more features, such as getting all the workouts in advance. We get that on track sheet that shows us everything we're going to be doing in the week, helps you to plan out your week, plan out your equipment, and basically just prepare your mind, prepare your muscles for the week ahead. Plus, On Track Unlimited gives you access to some other awesome Fit Crew events and leaderboards and things like that. Let's go ahead and move on to some calf raises. Up on the toe, back on the heel, up on the toe, back on the heel. Or if it works better, we can do some wrist extensions like this. And another super awesome benefit of getting the On Track Unlimited membership is eligibility for the Committed Club Academy. Depending on how long you've had the membership or whether you sign up for an annual or not, you get access to attend the very next semester of the Committed Club Academy, which has helped hundreds of our Fit Crew family all over the world. Let's go ahead and move on to some jumping jacks. Or we could do some stepping jacks if we want low impact. So if any of this sounds interesting to you, please click that link that's in this video to get on track, or feel free to message me for more details. Let's go ahead and take a break from this warm-up, guys, and we're going to move on to the activation phase, which is where we're going to do a couple different moves that are going to help us to get specifically ready for today's workout. So the first thing we're going to do is the pigeon, and let's go ahead and have Twin One demonstrate the pigeon for us. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then the pigeon is going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's sink into the pigeon on this side. So a couple things to keep in mind. We are laying face down on the ground. We've got the one leg up and across the chest, other leg back, and we are sinking into this pose here, which opens up the hips and helps us to get ready for some squats that we're going to be doing later. And let's go ahead and switch legs here. So we're going to get the other leg up and across the chest, other leg back. And like we said, this pigeon pose helps to improve our squat positioning. In squats, we always talk about chest up, shoulders back, knees out to the side. And that is actively what we are improving here. And so good job on this pigeon. Next, we're going to do some Supermans. And let's go ahead and have twin one demonstrate 2 Supermans for us. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then the Superman is going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 Supermans together. So a couple things to keep in mind. We've got those arms out in front of us, legs back, and we're going to be raising those arms and those legs, holding the top there for about 2 seconds before slowly coming back down. And this Superman is super important to help us to dial in that arch position and to activate the whole posterior chain all the way from the upper back down to the lower as well. And so good job here on the Supermans. Next, we're going to do some bird dogs. Let's go ahead and have twin one demonstrate 2 bird dogs for us. And if we're doing this from the seated position, then the bird dogs are going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 bird dogs together. Now, it could be that doing this is a bit hard on the wrists and the knees, in which case we may choose to do the dead bug. And let's have twin one demonstrate a couple reps of the dead bug here. This is where we're going to lay on the back and get those arms in the air and knees in the air. And then we're going to lower opposite arm, opposite leg. But if we are doing this as prescribed, then we're on hands and knees, and then we are raising opposite arm, opposite leg, holding the top for about 2 seconds before switching sides. And so good job on these bird dogs or dead bugs, whatever we choose to do. Next, we're going to do some air squats. And let's go ahead and have twin one demonstrate 2 air squats for us. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then the air squats are going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 air squats together. So a couple things to keep in mind. On the air squat, we're going to start with those feet shoulder width apart, and we have the chest up, shoulders back, and we're going to initiate by sending those hips back and down, pushing the knees out to the side, keeping the weight on the heels throughout the movement until we get all the way down, hips below the knees, and then we're going to drive through the middle of the foot until we get all the way back up to a fully standing locked out position, hips and knees locked out, shoulders back. Now, it could be that getting those hips all the way down below the knees is a bit of a challenge, in which case we may choose to do some assisted squats. We can use a chair or a footstool or any other target for assistance, but we want to definitely challenge ourselves if we've been doing this for a while, possibly getting a slightly lower target for assistance, but going down to our level of comfort. And so good job here on these air squats. Next, what I'd like everyone to do is let's go ahead and grab a broomstick or a mop or a PVC pipe. And we always start light before we go heavy. Plus, we're going to do some extra shoulder mobility right now. So we want nothing heavier than a broomstick. So with this broomstick in hand, we're going to do some pass-throughs. And let's go ahead and have Betty Boop demonstrate 2 pass-throughs for us. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then the pass-throughs are going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 pass-throughs together. So a couple things to keep in mind. We are going to have a nice wide grip on that broomstick, and we're going to pull this up and over all the way around, touching that lower back in the back and the belly button in the front. And the most important part of the pass-through is that pass-through smile, relaxing those muscles and helping us to have a nice fluid range of motion. And so good job on these pass-throughs. Next, we're going to do some snatch grip deadlifts, but first, Twin One is going to show us how we're holding this thing. We want a nice hook grip on there. So thumb wrapped around, fingers over the thumb, and we're holding it nice and wide since we're doing some snatches today. And let's see 2 reps of the snatch grip deadlift. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then the snatch grip deadlift, with the hook grip, of course, is going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 reps of the snatch grip deadlift together. So a couple things to keep in mind. We've got a nice wide grip on that broomstick, and at the start of the deadlift, those feet are going to be close together underneath the hips. The hips are going to be super low, but the chest is up, shoulders back. We are looking straight ahead. And we're going to take a deep breath in, bracing that core as we drive the ground away, getting to a fully standing position with the shoulders back at the top. And then we're going to keep it close to us on the way back down as well. And so good job here on these snatch grip deadlifts. Next, we're going to do some snatch high pulls. And let's go ahead and have Twin One demonstrate 2 snatch high pulls for us. And if we're doing this from the seated position, then the snatch high pulls are going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 reps of the snatch high pull together. So a couple things to keep in mind. We're going to start in the very same way as that snatch grip deadlift, but then as soon as that broomstick reaches those knees, we are going to glute bridge and shrug, blasting that broomstick up to the upper part of the chest, but we're still keeping the elbows above it. We're getting those elbows high and outside like a scarecrow, which helps us to keep it close to the body. That's the main thing there. We do not want that bar getting away from us in the front. And so blast with those glutes, get the elbows high and outside. Good job on these snatch high pulls. From here, we're going to do some power snatch, and let's go ahead and have Twin One demonstrate 2 reps of the power snatch for us. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then the power snatch is going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 reps of the power snatch together. So a couple things to keep in mind here. We are starting in the very same position as that snatch grip deadlift and the snatch high pull that we were just doing, except now, once we reach those knees, we are jumping and getting that bar to pop through the power of the legs and then punching under it. And so notice, we're not necessarily pulling with the arms. We are getting this up with the power of the hips and the legs, punching under, standing to finish. Now, this may be a lot of jump and land for us, in which case we may choose to do the muscle snatch. And let's have Twin One demonstrate a couple reps of the muscle snatch here. Same starting position, same finishing position overhead, just without the jump and the land. And so good job here on these power snatches or muscle snatches, whatever we prefer to do. And finally, here in the activation phase, we're going to do some overhead squats. And let's have Twin One demonstrate 3 reps, and we're going to hold the bottom of the third to notice a couple key things. And so let's hold the bottom of this one and notice very important points of performance here. Twin One has the hips below the knees. She's got those arms locked out, and she is able to hold that broomstick in the right position over the back side of her head, right over those pigtails there. And one more important detail, she's got the weight on the heels. So those heels are on the ground. She's even able to wiggle those toes if she wants to. And let's go ahead and stand that up. All those points of performance are super important if we are thinking about adding weight to this overhead squat motion today. If we are doing this from the seated position, then the overhead squat for today is going to be a behind the neck press like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 reps of the overhead squat together. So a couple things to keep in mind. On this overhead squat, we are starting the same way as those air squats before, feet shoulder width apart, chest up, shoulders back. With the addition of this broomstick now, we are punching that up, pulling that back. And in fact, as we are descending into the bottom of the squat, we are actively pulling back on that broomstick to keep it in the position that it's supposed to be toward the back of the head there. And it could be that getting those hips all the way down below the knees is a challenge, in which case we may choose to do some assisted squats like we were doing before. We've got that broomstick overhead, and then we are sitting, standing to whatever target of assistance is appropriate for us, whether that's a chair or a footstool or even a medicine ball or something along those lines. But good job on these overhead squats. Well, that is it for the activation phase. Now we're going to move on to the movement prep, which is where we're going to practice specifically the 2 moves that we are doing in today's workout. The first move is bar muscle ups. And a bar muscle up is a super high skill body weight move where we're starting by hanging below a pull-up bar, and then we are using momentum to kip and pull and then press to full lockout above the pull-up bar. Now, this does take a lot of skill and practice, and many of us don't have a pull-up bar at home. So what we're going to do right now is actually practice an at-home modification for the muscle up that helps us to train the transition aspect of it. We're going to be doing some deck squats and potentially some weighted deck squats. And so first, let's look in as Twin One demonstrates a regular deck squat and unweighted deck squat here, just so we can see what this move looks like. Now, this is a pretty high skill movement here. And there's a couple ways to make this either more challenging or to scale to our level of need. So for instance, it could be that getting all the way down back up from the ground is a challenge for us. We may choose to elevate this deck squat. Let's have Betty Boop demonstrate here. So we could do this off of an elevated surface, such as a sofa or a bench, where we would roll back, roll forward, and then stand up. And that is an elevated deck squat for us. Now, it could be that we're close to doing this deck squat off the ground, but we just need a little bit of a push. And let's have twin one grab a dumbbell here, and we're going to show a dumbbell assisted deck squat. And that's going to be where we roll back, punch it forward on the way up, and then that gives us a little bit of momentum. And so this is a way to actually add some assistance to the deck squat. If we're almost there off the ground, but not quite getting it, we need that little extra momentum. Now, with this very same weight, we can now scale this up and make this an even more challenging movement. We've actually come to call this a different movement. We're going to now call this the glute bridge get up. And let's have twin one demonstrate a glute bridge get up for us. So as we can see, that is a super challenging movement there. And the key thing there is that the feet do not come off the ground. Let's see one more. She's super happy to demonstrate this. Yes, so those heels stayed on the ground, and that really accentuates the difficulty. So we have lots of different options here. Now, if we are doing this from the seated position, then what I'd like you to do is grab a pair of dumbbells. And if we have the room for this, then what I'd like to see us do is a deadlift into a cluster like this. And if we don't have the room to get those arms back, then that's completely fine. We can just do the deadlift into the curl and press like this. And this is going to be our bar muscle up today from the seated position. So let's everyone join in here. And let's do 5 practice reps of whatever version of the deck squat is good for you. And so it could be that we are doing assisted deck squats. And what I'd like to see us do is let's maybe experiment and get a lower level of height assistance, if we can figure that out, to challenge ourselves a little bit. But this glute bridge get up is definitely a very challenging motion here. And we want to make sure that we're getting those glutes as high as we can in the air to give us that little bit of momentum while still keeping the heels on the ground, but then boom, punching forward, standing up to finish. And if we're doing the deck squat, let's have twin one just remind us a couple of the standard deck squat reps there. We're getting all the way down, and notice how she has the mat for protection there to protect that back. And so we definitely want to be doing this on a softer surface, whether it's carpet or if we have a mat or something along those lines. But the main thing there is getting the forward momentum. That's what's going to get us up and out of that hole. And so good job here on these deck squats or weighted deck squats or whatever we choose to do. The second move that we are doing in today's workout is the squat snatch. So let's go ahead and grab this broomstick and let's break this down and practice this together. Let's look on as twin one demonstrates a squat snatch for us. And so a couple key things there. We see that this is essentially starting from the snatch grip deadlift position, but then we are jumping and punching into the bottom of an overhead squat and then standing to finish. Now, this could be a lot of jumping and landing for some of us, in which case we may choose to not necessarily jump off the ground. We can muscle that and then take a side step to punch into the squat and then stand to finish. That is an option for us. Or we may choose to start the snatch from a squat position there. That way, we don't have to do any foot motion whatsoever. That would actually be ideal if we're trying to muscle this out and we're trying to avoid foot motion. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then we're going to start low, hit that snatch, followed by a behind the neck press. And that's going to be the squat snatch for today from the seated position. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 reps of the squat snatch together. Now, this is a higher skill movement. And today is definitely the type of day that I'd like us to practice this movement and not worry as much about the weight on that bar. No matter how long we've been doing this program, this is the type of movement, this is the type of workout that we will benefit even if we just stick with a broomstick for today. So we talked about that overhead squat position there. We can see twin one is able to achieve that deep overhead squat position. And so she is definitely in a position where she can potentially add some weight later after the warm-up. But if we're still working on getting into that deep overhead squat position, then like we said, we're still going to have a great workout, keeping it light with a broomstick and working on that form. But we definitely need to pick the option that is good for us today. And if we need to do this with a chair for assistance, we can do that as well. Let's have Betty Boop demonstrate a couple reps here so we could be standing in front of that chair for assistance, or we could use the sofa over there just for more clarity. But we're going to be starting in that low snatch position, and then we are going to stand, punch into a sit, and then stand to finish. And that's going to be an assisted squat snatch for us. Well, now it's ramp up time. If you've been earning badges and you'd like to add some weight to do either the scaled, intermediate, or RX starting weight, then let's start to gradually add some weight, doing about 3 to 5 squat snatches at a time, adding a little bit of weight each time until we get to the weight that we want to use for our division. But if we have not been earning badges, or we're just getting back into this after a long time off, or we are still working on improving and getting into that overhead squat position, hitting all those points of performance, then let's not add any weight. Very important that we have the right form and consistency before we've earned the right to add or reintroduce intensity, such as by adding weight or going fast. Whether we're adding weight or not, let's pay close attention to the following checklist. Number 1, please make sure your device is fully charged or plugged in so we can get through this whole workout without losing you. Number 2, let's grab some water. Let's take a sip. And let's make sure we got our water nearby so we could take a sip as needed all throughout the workout. Number 3, I'm going to give everyone a 3, 2, 1, go countdown. And that's how you can synchronize your timer with mine if you choose to use one. Number 4, music. Super important. Today is battle day, and you want to make sure you've got some battle themes that are going to help you to stay focused and stay on task and to keep moving well and maximize your score. So, what's on your playlist? You can blast your music as loud as you want, as long as you can still hear me helping you throughout the workout. And lastly, how are we keeping track of these rounds? This is battle day, which means we are scoring the reps of these squat snatches, and it's going to be easy to lose track of how many we did in that first round or that third round, or what round am I even on right now. So let's have some type of system in place to help us keep track of things so that we don't get lost. The best way to do that is to have the workout written down close by. So if you're a teacher's pet like Betty Boop, first to the screen, or Twin One as well, let's go ahead and take a teacher's pet picture just to show how prepared you are. Teacher's pet picture in 3, 2, 1. Awesome. I'm going to bring the workout back on screen one more time, and then we'll get going. So in just about a minute, we're going to start this timer, and we are going to do this BearMuscle Battle WOD, which is 2-minute rounds of 6 bar muscle ups and then as many squat snatches as we can do until the 2 minutes are up. And then we're going to have a 2-minute rest while heat 2 goes, and we're going to cheer each other on, and it's going to be a whole lot of big energy going on today. We're going to go back and forth until each heat has done 5 rounds each. So reminder on these bar muscle ups, most of us are going to be doing these deck squats for the at-home modification, and let's pick the version that's good for us, whether we're doing anything from that weighted glute bridge getup that we talked about, or perhaps we're doing an assisted deck squat where we're allowing our feet to come off the ground and we're rolling forward, maybe an unassisted deck squat, or even we're elevating this off of some type of chair or bench or something along those lines. No matter what we choose, let's be confident with it. Let's be comfortable with that choice, because safety first. Let's do something that challenges us, but that we still feel comfortable performing. If you do happen to have a pull-up bar and some dip stations, and you'd like to do some pull-ups and dips or assisted pull-ups and dips, you can choose to start off each round with 6 pull-ups and dips using whatever level of assistance as needed. After that, we're doing as many squat snatches as we can do. Potentially, we're starting light in the first round and adding weight each round, but we are only adding weight if, number 1, we can achieve the deep overhead squat position with a broomstick. And number 2, if we've been earning badges. If we've not been earning badges, or we're still working on the overhead squat position, we're still going to get a great workout today working on our form with that broomstick. So your score is going to be the amount of squat snatches you get done after these 6 deck squats within 2 minutes. 2-minute rest in between rounds. We're doing a total of 5 rounds here. So if you are good to go, give me a thumbs up here and we'll get this started. We're going to have Twin One in heat 1, and Betty Boop is going to be cheering her on, getting ready for heat 2, and we're going to go back and forth and keep this energy nice and loud. So here we go, guys. 2-minute rounds, starting off with 6 weighted deck squats, and then as many squat snatches as we can do until the 2 minutes are up. And then we are going to reset while heat 2 goes, going back and forth for a total of 5 rounds. Starting in 10 seconds. Let's get ready. 3, 2, 1, go. And we are off. And we've got Twin One on.
Twin One.
Go. Get-ups.
Getting
back, getting the hips up, keeping the heels on the ground, punching it forward, standing up to finish. And notice how she's learned the technique. She is punching low and forward, which helps her to get more momentum. And then boom, squeeze that out. 6 glute bridge get-ups, and the crowd goes wild. And approaching that bar, about to hit some squat snatches here. So pulling those hips low, boom, punching into that squat, standing up to finish. And notice the footwork, the feet starting close together for power, punching into a squat position, standing, but then the foot reset each time, tapping the ground, jump, punch into the squat, stand, keeping the weight on the heels, punching those arms back.
You got this. Come on.
Boom, using those hips to power this. And time flies when we're having fun. In 30 seconds, we got Betty Boop on deck, getting ready to go. And there goes twin one. Moving nice and steady through these squat snatches. Boom, getting low, standing that up. Got time for one more 10 seconds. And 3, 2, 1, and there she goes, Betty Boop, starting off with these deck squats here, and she was able to find a lower chair. And so good work there, Betty Boop. And making quick work of these 6 elevated deck squats. And now moving on to the squat snatches with the broomstick. And so she is using the step out method, starting with the feet close together, but then stepping, squatting, standing, has been working on this. And so we want to think slower on the way down, but then fast on the way up. So we have got a fast pop, squat slow, stand fast. Win one, marking down the score, but then cheering on Betty Boop.
Come on, girl. Look at that form.
Doing good on this. Doing good, doing good.
Steady.
Hitting that pop. Squatting. Standing.
Good job.
And then just like that, about 30 more seconds until twin one goes back with a heavier bar for round 2. And let's keep moving there, Betty Boop. Getting a couple more reps in, 10 more seconds. And 3, 2, 1. The top of the second, we've got twin one hitting these glute bridge get-ups, getting those hips up, punching low, standing up. And Betty Boop worked up a sweat in that first round, but happy to be able to write down that score and get right back to cheering on twin one.
Oh, twin one, you got this.
And then after these 6 glute bridge get-ups, boom, squeezing that out, moving on to this heavier bar for round 2. And one more detail here, as we get toward the end of the round, we are counting buzzer beaters. So as long as that bar is off the ground before the clock beeps, you can finish out that last squat snatch, and it will count. But she is going to town on this one. Boom, punching into that squat.
Oh, twin one.
Tapping the ground. Pop, squat, stand. That speed up and the speed under. Popping, squatting, standing to finish. And notice how she's patient in the bottom of that squat there, guys. Fast up, but then finding that balance in the bottom. Boom. Standing up to finish. Hitting that breath. Popping into that squat. Stand 10 seconds. Got time to do one more. Let's get that buzzer beater in. 3, 2, 1. And she closes that out. And Betty Boop is on to the bottom of the second here. And so nice work there, Betty Boop. Rolling back, standing up. Getting these 6 elevated deck squats in. And now working on these squat snatches. Those deck squats are looking way too easy. I don't know if we could find an even lower surface for next round, but we'll see how it goes. Right now, we're working on these squat snatches. But feet together for power, getting low in these squats, standing that up to finish. So nice work, Betty Boop. Getting low, standing that up. Twin one finally catching her breath a little bit, writing down that score, but cheering on.
Go, Betty Boop. Get it.
Keeping that broomstick close to the body, popping that up, getting slow and low, stand to finish. And just like that, about 30 seconds until twin one is on deck for the top of the third here. Twenty more seconds. Staying nice and consistent here. Getting low, standing that up. And in 3, 2, 1. Top of the third. We got twin one hitting these glute bridge get-ups. Popping that hip, punching it low, standing to finish. Popping that hip, punching it low. Here we go. Getting super smooth with this. Fighting through it. Keeping the weight on the heels. Punching that out.
Come on, twin one. Punch it out. Woohoo!
Love to hear from our cheering squad.
Woohoo!
Twin one on this heavier bar here. This is what we want to see.
Let's do this.
That bar, thinking about it, but let's not think too much. Let's get punching, let's get squatting. So hips low. Hitting that jump, punch under, stand, and let's find that balance that we talked about in the other round. Tap the ground. Punching low, find that balance. It's all good. And we can let go of it if you want. Let go in between reps here. Take a deep breath. Hitting that jump. Punch under. There we go. Stand that up. We got time for maybe one more here at that weight. Take a couple seconds. Take a breath. Ride this time out. And 3, 2, 1. Bottom of the third here for Betty Boop. And so hitting these deck squats, rolling that back. Standing up. So nice work here, Betty Boop. And then going into these squat snatches here, twin one taking a bit to recuperate from that last one. But let's not let it get in your head. You did exactly what you needed to do in that heavy set. These are supposed to get heavier. As this gets heavier, even if we get down to maybe 4 per round, or even in the last round, like 2 or 3 per round, that is ideal. We're looking for it to get like pretty heavy toward the end there. Betty Boop choosing to use this broomstick and keep working on that form. Getting lower and lower, standing that up.
Good job, Betty Boop.
So some good footwork there, keeping it close, punching low, standing up. And just like that, twin one getting ready for the top of the fourth in just about 30 seconds here. So Betty Boop hitting these snatches, getting low, standing up. Ten more seconds. Three, two, one, and top of the fourth for twin one. Hitting these glute bridge get-ups. Popping that hip, punching it low, standing that up. So awesome work here. Let's go, let's go.
Come on, twin one, you got this.
And that's what we love about Battle Day. As tired as we are, we're still cheering on our other heat. Twin one approaching that bar. Deep breath, full focus. Find that balance, stand it up. Boom. Getting better, getting better. Finding that balance at the bottom of the squat. Much more solid on that rep. Deep breath in, popping, punching. Each snatch looking better than the last. Keeping it close. Speed under, standing that up.
Good job.
Got time for about one more there, twin one. Punching under, standing that up. And Betty Boop going in 3, 2, 1. Here comes Betty Boop, bottom of the fourth. So nice work, Betty Boop. Rolling back, getting forward. Twin one feeling more confident, adding some weight for this last round, doing some barbell NASCAR over there. And here goes Betty Boop. Boom, getting lower and lower in these squats here. That's what we want to see. Each rep lower than the last. Confidence. So keeping it close, punching that under, standing that up. And notice the eyes looking straight ahead the whole time. Keeping the chest up, shoulders back.
Good job, Betty Boop.
Twin one, cheering it on.
Good job.
So making our way through this here.
All right.
And just like that, we are going to be getting into the last round here in just about 20 seconds. So a couple more reps for Betty Boop. And 3, 2, 1. Last round for twin 1. This is the top of the 5th here. Rolling back, punching it through. Standing to finish.
Come on, twin 1, you got this.
Nice work there, twin 1. Let's go, let's go. Punching it out. Standing it up. Earning that heavy bar at the end. And let's take a couple extra breaths here. This is the heaviest one. If we get a good 3 out of this, we'll be doing pretty good for this last bar. That's what we're looking for. So let's visualize. Let's sip up to that bar. Let's get this first one going here. Let's hit that big pop. Punch under, stand. And let's get ready for this second one. Let's get more confident in that squat. Boom, punching. All right, that was the power. We got time for one more. Let's ride this clock out here. We're at the 15-second mark. Let's hit this buzzer beater. All right, let's approach this bar. Here we go. Let's get 5 seconds left to pick up that bar. 3, 2, 1. Boom, riding that down, standing that up. And now it is Betty Boop's last round here. And so rolling back, standing that up. Nice work here, Betty Boop. Let's go, let's go. Getting through these last couple deck squats. And now getting this bar for the last round. Boom. Standing that up to finish.
Nice.
And Betty Boop keeping that bar close, punching it low, standing that up.
Nice. Good job, Betty Boop.
And here we go, getting low, standing it up.
Oh, good job.
Betty Boop, let's go, let's go. Got about 30 more seconds with this bar. You can take a couple breathers if you want.
You got this.
Boom, getting low, standing that up.
Nice, good job.
About 15 more seconds. Punching, getting low, standing up. We got time for about one more here, Betty Boop. And 3, 2, 1, time.
Good job.
Man. Craziness, craziness, craziness as always, but that's what we love about Battle Day, right? But guess what? Now we're at the best part of the workout, which is the cool down stretch. And this stretch is super important to help us fight soreness, increase flexibility, so we can come back day after day, staying consistent and committed. So the first stretch we're going to do today is the scorpion. And that's going to be where we're laying face down. We got those arms out to the side, and we're going to get the right foot going left like this. And while we're over here, let's hear some high-low buffalo. And let's hear it first from twin one. And if we're doing this from the seated position, we're going to get the one arm up and pull to the side like this. But what is your high-low buffalo twin one?
So my high was let me think. The glute bridge get-ups. They're fun, but man, they start burning towards the last couple of ones that I try to push through. And then the low was those squat snatches. Whew, though they're a challenge for me mentally. But the buffalo is that I was like really pushing myself in my like mentally. I was like, come on, you could do this. You could hit this weight. You could hit this squat snatch. So I was pushing myself to do it, even though I didn't want to. But I did go up in weight, even though I didn't want to. But I'm happy that I pushed myself.
And I'm certainly happy you did too. So glad to see you trying new things, stepping outside your comfort zone, and then especially in this threshold format here, hitting that snatch while the stakes are high. So good job there, twin one. Let's go ahead and hit scorpion on the other side. So we got those arms out to the side, and now we got the left foot going right as close as we can to the right hand. And while we're on this side, let's hear from Betty Boop. And if we're doing this from the seated position, we're getting the other arm up and pulling to the side like this. But what is your high-low buffalo, Betty Boop?
Okay, I'm still out of breath. My high was cheering on twin one, taking that little 2-minute breather. I tell you, those are the fastest 2 minutes ever. My low was that I'm still doing those squats with the broom, but trying to work on my form. And my buffalo was that I was able to get out the 15-pounder rod without any weights, but I was able to do it till the time finish. Not as many as the other rounds, but it was a plus for me.
And that was good to see too. I'm glad that you took the first 4 rounds to really dial in that technique, to feel confident getting lower and lower with the broomstick, and then you were able to add that weight and put to practice what you've been learning. And yes, I agree, those 2 minutes seem to get shorter each time in the rest, and the 2 minutes on even longer while it's on. It's funny how our sense of time changes in these battle days, right? Let's go ahead and switch to dragon. So we're gonna get into a nice long lunge position with the leg forward, and we're leaning into it like this. And while we're here, at the beginning of the episode, we talked about the on-track sheets and how these additional on-track workouts help us to get more out of the program, to stay on track and reach our goals. And Betty Boop makes full use of all of these extra on-track features. And so what do you like about getting these sheets in advance, Betty Boop, and what aspects of these additional on-track workouts do you appreciate the most?
I enjoy seeing what's coming up, what's ahead of me. And I think one of the ones I love the most, I haven't been able to do it the last couple of weeks, but the one that I really love the most is so much fun is getting together with the Throwdown Tuesday and being live with all your comrades, and we're all in this together, and a little bit of friendly competition. I really like that aspect.
We appreciate having you throw down with us too. But that's exactly the beauty of this program. We have access to all these tools, and we can do it whenever we need to, either later in the day or even doing a particular workout on a different day completely, if that's what our life requires of us. And so thank you for making full use of that, Betty Boop. And let's go ahead and switch sides on this dragon here. And let's hear from Twin One. Twin One, makes full use of all these on-track workouts, Throwdown Tuesday, all of the additional pieces, the orange WOD, GWOD, things like that. So what do you appreciate about these extra features included in these on-track workouts?
I really like how they sort of help you refine certain skilled movements, because especially the ones you struggle with, or some of them you just want to get heavier on. So having these extra workouts like the GWODs that help you focus on that one movement, it does polish your skill on it, and you could go heavier on certain, depending on what it is, because sometimes it's body weight, sometimes it's weighted, so you just go heavier and you get stronger with that movement. So I really like those to help me polish up on that.
And you've definitely been putting those to work, especially on your handstand skills, if I could say so myself, but you've been getting deeper in those handstand push-ups. You've been getting the nose closer to the wall in these wall walks, and that's just because of the extra work you've been putting in those GWODs, along with, of course, everything else, making full use of these workouts day after day. Well, that's our WOD, that's our stretch, that's our high-low buffalo. You know what's left. This sweaty selfie, because does this count if we don't take this selfie? Let's flex on the camera here, guys, and let's take this selfie. Sweaty selfie in 3, 2, 1. And crazy face. And let's put the fist in the middle for the cheer. On 3, 2 claps, fit crew. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Fit crew!
Fit crew!
Thank you guys so much. If you enjoy this program, then please give this channel a subscribe, a like, and a share. Thank you very much, and see you next time.